People believe only guilty people confess. They believe truth protects the innocent. They believe the human mind is strong under pressure. They are wrong. Every year, thousands of innocent people confess to crimes they did not commit, not because they are stupid, not because they are weak, not because they are evil, but because the human brain has limits. And the legal system knows exactly where those limits are. Imagine this. You are taken into a small room, no windows, no clock, no phone, a table, 2 chairs, a recorder. The door closes, and time stops meaning anything. At first, you are calm. You know the truth. You believe truth is enough. You believe justice is logical. You believe innocence is protection. Hours pass. No food, no sleep, same questions. Again, and again, and again. Where were you last night? You answer. They write something. They leave. They return. Same question. Different tone. You repeat the truth. They shake their head. You're lying. Your brain notices something dangerous. Reality is no longer controlled by you. It is controlled by the room. This is the first crack. Loss of control. The human mind is built to survive danger, not to survive uncertainty. Guilt is simple. Innocence is exhausting. Police interrogations are not conversations. They are psychological environments, designed environments, carefully engineered to break resistance. The innocent person enters thinking, I just need to explain. They leave thinking, I just need this to stop. That is the difference between truth and survival. The brain does not protect justice. It protects the body. It protects sleep. It protects pain. It protects fear. And when fear becomes stronger than logic, truth becomes negotiable. Innocent people do not confess because they believe they are guilty. They confess because their brain believes the situation is dangerous. And danger demands escape. The room becomes the enemy. The silence becomes heavy. The officers become reality. Your memories become fragile. Your confidence dissolves. After hours, your thoughts slow down. Your sense of time disappears. Your identity weakens. And something terrifying happens. You start doubting yourself. What if I'm wrong? What if I forgot? What if I did something without remembering? The human brain hates uncertainty more than punishment. At some point, a simple sentence becomes attractive. Just say it. Then you can go home. Home becomes more important than truth. This is not stupidity. This is biology. The law assumes humans are machines. They are not. They are fragile systems made of stress, memory, and fear. And interrogation rooms are factories that manufacture confessions, even false ones. Most people who falsely confess do not collapse dramatically. They cooperate. They become quiet. They follow instructions. They sign papers. They believe the nightmare will end. It does not, because confessions do not free the innocent. They trap them. Once words are recorded, they become reality. Courts love confessions. Judges trust them. Juries believe them. Police depend on them. The system is built on one assumption. People do not confess to crimes they did not commit. History proves the opposite. The question is not, why do guilty people confess? The real question is, why does the human brain surrender to pressure? That answer begins with fear. And it does not end in a courtroom. The room is not random. The silence is not accidental. The questions are not innocent. Modern police interrogation is a science, a system, a carefully designed psychological process. And it has a name, the Reed technique. It was created decades ago, not to find truth, but to extract confessions. The technique begins with isolation. The suspect is separated from everything familiar. No family, no lawyer, no phone, no clock, only authority, only walls, only questions. Isolation weakens the mind faster than hunger. The brain is social. It measures reality using other people. When people disappear, reality becomes unstable. After isolation comes certainty. The officers do not ask, "Did you do it?" They say, "We know you did it." This is important because the brain trusts confidence more than facts. A calm voice, a firm tone, a uniform, a badge. These become evidence. The innocent person argues, explains, repeats the truth, but the officers do not debate. They reject, again and again and again. Soon the innocent person realizes, truth is not changing the situation. Then comes the most dangerous weapon, false evidence. Police are legally allowed to lie during interrogation. They can say, "We found your fingerprints. We have video. Your friend confessed." Your DNA is on the weapon, even if none of it is true. To a tired brain, authority plus evidence equals reality. The suspect thinks, if they have proof, why am I here? And doubt enters. Not doubt about the crime, doubt about the self. Memory is not a recording. It is a story. A fragile story rewritten every time we remember it. Under pressure, that story bends. What if I forgot? What if I blocked it out? What if I did something without knowing? Once doubt exists, resistance weakens. Then comes kindness, a sudden change, a softer voice, a chair pulled closer, a sentence spoken gently. We know you're not a bad person. Now the officer becomes a friend. The room becomes safe. The confession becomes a solution. They offer two paths. Both assume guilt. One path is horrible. You planned it. You're dangerous. The other is human. It was an accident. Anyone could do it. The innocent person chooses the second story, not because it is true, but because it is less painful. This is called minimization, turning a crime into a mistake, turning guilt into relief. The brain hears, this will end, and that is all it wants. An ending. Sleep deprivation weakens logic. Hunger weakens focus. Fear weakens memory. Authority weakens identity. By the time the confession arrives, the person is not thinking about justice. They are thinking about survival. They sign papers. They repeat sentences. They agree with details they never lived. They create a story to escape the room. And the room lets them go. But the system does not. Because the confession becomes permanent. A frozen moment of weakness, turned into truth. Later, when lawyers appear, when sleep returns, when food returns, when safety returns, the innocent person says, I lied. But the system does not hear retractions. It hears recordings. A confession is stronger than fingerprints, stronger than witnesses, stronger than logic, because humans trust words more than silence. The court sees a confession, not exhaustion, not fear, not biology. The jury sees guilt, not survival. And the innocent person enters a new room, a prison cell, not because they were guilty, but because they were human. Not all minds resist pressure equally. Some break faster. Some never had a chance. Children, teenagers, people with low intelligence, people with anxiety, people with trauma, people who trust authority too easily, people who fear conflict, people who were taught to obey. These are not criminals. They are targets. A child in an interrogation room is not a suspect. They are a fragile system placed inside a psychological storm. Children want approval. They want adults to be happy. They want conflict to end. They believe uniforms. They believe deep voices. They believe certainty. When a police officer says, "We know you did it," a child hears, "You are wrong." And children do not fight adults. They adapt. They nod. They repeat. They agree. They learn the story they are expected to tell. Later, when asked, "Why did you confess?" they answer, "Because they told me to." Low-intelligence suspects experience the same collapse. They struggle to understand legal language. They struggle to understand consequences. They struggle to understand time. But they understand pressure. They understand fear. They understand authority. When told, "If you confess, you can go home," they believe it. They do not imagine courtrooms. They do not imagine years. They imagine beds, food, silence, safety. Mental fatigue creates the same weakness. After hours of questioning, the brain enters survival mode. It stops evaluating truth. It starts searching for exits. Logic disappears first, then memory, then identity. The person becomes simple. Yes. No. Okay. Confession becomes a word that opens a door. Some suspects confess because they are broken, some because they are confused, some because they are terrified, some because they are lonely, some because they believe police will protect them. The system does not care why. It only records that they did. There is another terrifying type, the compliant confessor. These people do not believe they are guilty. They know they are innocent, but they confess anyway. Why? Because they believe the truth will fix it later. They think, I will explain in court. They will see I was forced. The judge will understand. The system will correct itself. They are wrong. Confessions do not disappear. They grow. They infect everything that follows. Police investigations stop. Alternative suspects disappear. Evidence is reinterpreted. Mistakes become facts. The story becomes fixed, and the innocent person becomes a villain inside it. Another group is even more vulnerable. People who already feel guilty, not for crime, but for their lives. People raised in shame. People raised in fear. People taught that they are bad. People taught that they deserve punishment. When accused, they do not fight. They accept. Their confession is not about the crime. It is about identity. I am the kind of person who ruins things. So they sign. They agree. They surrender. Interrogation does not create lies. It exposes weaknesses. And the system quietly selects those weaknesses. Children, the poor, the uneducated, the mentally fragile, the isolated, the obedient. These people fill prisons, not because they commit more crimes, but because they break faster. The law pretends every mind is equal. Reality proves otherwise. A billionaire's lawyer would never sit in that room. A child does. A trained executive would demand a lawyer. A teenager apologizes. Power resists pressure. Vulnerability absorbs it. And confessions flow toward weakness. Not guilt, weakness. The system does not collapse when an innocent person confesses. It accelerates. Once a confession exists, everything changes direction. Police stop searching. Other suspects vanish. Contradictions are ignored. Evidence is reshaped. The story is locked. From that moment, the goal is no longer truth. It is consistency. If new evidence appears, it must fit the confession. If witnesses disagree, they are mistaken. If timelines conflict, they are adjusted. If facts resist, they are softened. The confession becomes gravity. Everything bends toward it. This is why false confessions are so dangerous. They do not merely lie. They rewrite reality. There are thousands of proven cases. Men, women, teenagers, children who confessed and were later proven innocent by DNA. Years later, decades later, after their youth disappeared, after families collapsed, after identities dissolved. Some confessed after 6 hours, some after 12, some after 24, some after days without sleep. In every case, they said the same thing later. I just wanted it to stop. The courtroom never sees the room where it started. The sleeplessness, the shaking hands, the confusion, the hunger, the fear. The jury only sees a calm video, a chair, a table, a person saying, I did it. No one hears the hours before. No one feels the pressure. No one experiences the psychological collapse. A confession looks simple, but it is built from exhaustion. Judges trust confessions. They are trained to. Prosecutors depend on them. Police careers are built on them. A confession closes cases. It creates statistics. It creates promotions. It creates order. The system rewards certainty, not accuracy. When innocence is discovered years later, the system apologizes quietly, pays compensation, writes reports, moves on, but time does not return. Many innocent people leave prison unable to sleep in silence, unable to trust authority, unable to believe in memory, unable to believe in themselves. They do not ask, why did this happen? They already know. They trusted the system. The system trusted a confession, and the confession trusted fear. Some never recover. Some never speak again. Some never stop apologizing for a crime they never committed. False confessions do not require violence. They require patience. They require rooms, chairs, time, authority, silence. The most powerful weapons are invisible. The law treats confessions as gold, but gold is heavy, and heavy things sink. Truth floats, silence sinks, and the innocent follows silence. The real tragedy is not that people confess falsely. It is that the system is designed to believe them. The justice system does not love confessions because they are true. It loves them because they are efficient. Confessions save time. They save money. They close cases. They reduce paperwork. They remove uncertainty. Without confessions, police investigations become slow. Trials become long. Evidence must be perfect. Witnesses must be questioned. Mistakes become visible. Confessions hide complexity. They simplify chaos. They turn uncertainty into order. A single sentence can replace months of investigation. I did it. That sentence is powerful. It creates clarity in a system that fears doubt. Prosecutors rely on confessions to win. Their careers depend on conviction rates. Their success is measured in closed cases, not in truth. Police departments depend on confessions to show productivity. Numbers matter. Statistics matter. Solved cases matter. Confessions create results. Fast results. Clean results. Paper results. The system rewards speed, not accuracy. A trial without a confession is risky. A trial with a confession is predictable. Juries trust words spoken by the accused more than evidence presented by strangers. They think, no one would say this unless it were true. The brain prefers stories to data. Confessions are stories. Simple ones. Emotional ones. Human ones. Evidence is complicated. Confessions are clean. This is why prosecutors resist revisiting old cases. It threatens a story. It threatens certainty. It threatens careers. Admitting false confessions means admitting system failure, and systems do not confess. So they protect the process, not the person. When DNA proves innocence, it is treated as an exception, not as a warning. Files are closed. Policies remain. Rooms remain. Techniques remain. Because the machine must continue. If confessions were treated as fragile, thousands of convictions would shake. Prisons would empty. Statistics would collapse. Trust would erode. So the system chooses stability, not truth. This is why reforms move slowly. Why rules remain soft. Why interrogation rooms remain quiet and windowless. Why recording starts late. Why lawyers are delayed. Why techniques are renamed, not removed. The system cannot survive without confessions. So it protects the process that creates them. Not because it is evil, but because it is built that way. Every system chooses what it values. The justice system values closure. And closure is easier than correction. The innocent person becomes collateral. A number, a file, a case. The confession becomes permanent. The human becomes temporary. In the end, the most dangerous thing about false confessions is not the interrogation room. It is what happens after. Once the words are spoken, the system changes shape. The suspect becomes a criminal. The investigation becomes history. And doubt becomes disobedience. The innocent person tries to explain, but explanations sound weaker than recordings. They try to remember, but memories sound weaker than signed papers. They try to fight, but their own voice is now the strongest weapon against them. A confession does not fade. It hardens. So how does a person protect themselves? The answer is simple and almost impossible. Do not speak, not because you are guilty, but because you are human. Silence is not weakness. Silence is armor. The human brain is not built for interrogation. It is built for survival. And survival does not care about truth. The only real protection is a lawyer, not confidence, not intelligence, not honesty, not memory. A lawyer is not a symbol of guilt. A lawyer is a wall between biology and machinery. Without that wall, the system does not see a human. It sees an opportunity. Interrogation rooms are not places of conversation. They are pressure chambers. Every minute inside them changes the brain. Every hour weakens resistance. Every sentence risks becoming permanent. The law pretends you are rational. Your body is not. Your fear is not. Your exhaustion is not. This is why innocent people confess. Not because they want to, but because their mind is trying to escape. False confessions will never disappear. Not as long as the system rewards speed. The system rewards certainty. The system rewards closure. Not as long as careers depend on solved cases. Not as long as silence is cheaper than reform. Not as long as humans remain human. Technology will improve. Recording will increase. Rules will change. Rooms will become brighter. Words will become softer. But pressure will remain. Authority will remain. Fear will remain. Fatigue will remain. And the human brain will remain fragile. The tragedy is not that innocent people confess. The tragedy is that the system knows they will, and still allows it. In the courtroom, truth is supposed to be sacred, but in the interrogation room, truth is optional. The system does not ask, is this person innocent? It asks, is this case closed? And when a confession exists, the answer is always yes. So remember this. Justice is not decided only by laws. It is decided by rooms, by silence, by time, by fear, by words spoken when the mind is breaking. The most dangerous sentence in the legal system is not, I am guilty. It is, I just want this to stop. Because when the pain ends, the consequences begin. The law does not hear exhaustion. The law does not hear fear. The law only hears words. And words can destroy lives, not because they are true, but because they are believed.